evening. Welcome to the March 14th Kildare Hills Board of Commissioners meeting. We'll call the meeting to order, and if you would please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we head into our moment of silence this evening, most of you are probably aware the town sent out a notice last week, but certainly with very heavy hearts, we acknowledge the passing of Bill Pitt. Bill was just an amazing figure in our town and throughout our community. I personally benefited from meeting Bill when I first moved down here with the YMCA. He was a board member. I was the new director at the time, and he taught me just a tremendous amount, life lessons, business lessons, community spirit-minded community lessons. And then we had the pleasure of some of us serving with him when he came back to be on the Board of Commissioners for a second time or a second go-round when he was filling a spot. So time that we'll always cherish that we had with him. But it was announced today, his memorial service is going to be on Saturday, April 2nd at 4 p.m. at the Hilton Garden Pier House. And certainly, if you all can join us, please do. The family's asking that in lieu of flowers, that donations be made in his name to the Wounded Warriors Project. So it's just in spirit with Bill and the giving person that he was and the community-minded person. So please, if you'll keep Glenda, his wife, and family in your thoughts and prayers as we move forward. And with that, I will call for a moment of silence, please. Thank you. Next up is the agenda approval. Second. Any discussion, comments? All those in favor, please signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. The first item then on the agenda is the public hearing. We have one public hearing this evening, and I will turn it over to our town attorney, Steve Michael, to conduct that.
All right, thank you. There will be one public hearing conducted this evening by the Board of Commissioners, and the following rules will apply to that hearing. The public notice for the hearing has been published in the newspaper, posted on the town bulletin boards in accordance with statutory requirements, and a copy has been filed with the town clerk in the official records. The town clerk will record all oral comments in a concise and brief manner, and written statements will be received and recorded in a similar manner and made part of the record of the hearing. Please limit your comments to matters relevant to the issue and to a time period of 3 minutes if you're speaking as an individual. There will be a 5-minute exception made if there's a spokesperson for a group or if your statement is submitted in writing to the town clerk. All speakers must come to the microphone so that your statement can be taped. There will be no debates, and please identify yourself when you come forward. This public hearing will come to order and is called for the purpose of the Kildare Hills Board of Commissioners to consider a proposed amendment to Chapter 153 zoning, Section 153.078A, access to US 158 Croatan Highway and NC 12 Virginia Dare Trail, clarify regulations to apply only to corner lots. No one has signed up. Is there anyone who wants to speak to this matter to the Board of Commissioners? No one wants to speak. Greg, do you want to explain this?
Yes, sir, I'd be happy to. Fairly straightforward modification to our ordinance. You add the word corner, which you might say, that seems intuitive that if you have access to a side street, then you use that as your access for your business. But in fact, some of our lots have access to back roads like Raymond Avenue or Wrightsville Avenue or Blue Jay, for example, and those lots would be only access to those back roads or back streets, and it's not very convenient for the motoring public to find you if your only access is off of a parallel street to 158 or 12. And we've seen circumstances where this was, went to the zoning board. So we recommend at this point that we limit it to corner lots. And that was, hence we're adding the word corner, which will clarify that section.
Does anyone wish to speak? Seems to be no public comment, so the public hearing will be closed.
All right, thank you. Comments or questions from the board? Okay, a motion would be in order.
I'll make a motion. I'll make a motion that we approve the amendment to Chapter 153 zoning, 153.078A, access to US 158 Pro 10 Highway and NC 12 Virginia Dare Trail, clarifying regulations to apply only to corner lots. This proposed amendment, 153.078A, access to Pro 10 Highway and Virginia Dare Trail to clarify regulations to apply only to corner lots, is consistent with all comprehensive plans and other official adopted plans of the town of Kildare Hills that are applicable. The amendment is reasonable and in the public interest because it clarifies the existing ordinance to apply as originally intended.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion, questions, comments? All those in favor, please signal by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Great, thank you. Thank you.
In case it didn't sound like I read that. Didn't make it up.
But you got it perfect, so that's great, thank you.
We have a great staff.
All right. Okay, moving on to the next item on the agenda. This is the first time set aside this evening for public comment. This is an opportunity for the public to address the board on any item or topic that they wish. We did have a sign-up sheet, so we will work first from the sign-up sheet. But if you did not sign up, no worries, then we'll call from the floor. So first, from the League of Women Voters, we have Miss Mary Jane. Mary, I'm going to let you tell everybody your last name. And when you do approach the podium, if you'll identify yourself by name and address, please. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm Mary Jane Slazinski. I'm actually from 22 Wild Pony Lane, Southern Shores, but I'm here representing the League of Women Voters of Dare County. I'm here to present you the 2016 Citizens Guide. Complimentary copies of the guide, which has been published by the League since 1988, are distributed annually to government and business offices throughout the county. We would like to acknowledge the County Commission, municipalities, of which you're one, and local businesses that contributed generously towards our publication expenses, and acknowledge the support of the many employees who provided updated information, and I'm sure there are some in the room. Our guide is published under the auspices of the State League of Women Voters Citizens Education Foundation. The guide provides names, addresses, phone numbers, and email addresses for national, state, county, and municipality officials. Additionally, the guide has information on governmentally funded recreation areas and services, local attractions, voting information, and emergency numbers. There are all those things you cannot find in the phone book and sometimes on the web, or they're already outdated. We try to update this every year and keep it as accurately as possible. The day it comes off the press, it is right. Okay? Over 6,000 copies of the guide are being distributed by League members from Duck to Hatteras Village, Roanoke Island, and mainland Dare County. They are available in libraries, post offices, the Baum and Resident Centers, as well as town and county offices. The League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan political organization that encourages the informed and active participation of citizens in government and influences public policy through education and advocacy. Publishing this guide is part of our continuing commitment to provide pertinent information to our community's voters. Membership to the League of Women Voters is open to anyone of voting age, male or female. New members are always welcome, and you can go to our new and improved website. Just put in your search engine, Dare County League of Women Voters, find all the information there about the league, and forms for joining. And we'd like to see you all join the group. Thank you for your support, and we know you will find our guide useful.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, next we have Matt Walker. Welcome.
Hi, Matt Walker, 439 West Walker Street, KDH. I'm actually here on behalf of the Surfrider Foundation. I just wanted to come in and give you a quick update. It's been roughly a year, I guess, since the Boehm hearing, and Word on the street is the final proposal definitely will be out by the end of the month and possibly as soon as this week. So we want to check back in, just give you a quick update. You know, since last year, more than 100 communities from Virginia through South Carolina have all voiced opposition. There's been a lot of, particularly on to the federal officials. We actually went and met with Bowen's head Abigail Hopper 3 weeks ago now. We delivered a surfboard, and by we, members of Surfrider, Environment US, Environment America, I should say. Lee Nettles came with us, and we presented a surfboard with countless signatures, and over 1,000 total when you looked at the various petitions and everything. And I'm happy to say that we're very responsive. They're definitely got their ears open. What that's going to mean tomorrow, the next day when this stuff comes out, we'll have to see. But you know, cross your fingers for the best, and in the case of the worst, definitely be prepared to hopefully do some more activity and hopefully get another hearing and really push back, because the one thing we did hear from them is all this momentum helps. You know, they're definitely hearing from the other side, probably in more polished and frequent ways than we can do on our volunteer levels. So what's really counting, they're saying, is to hear from these community, from all the municipalities and all the user groups. And it's not, you know, there's a 90-day comment period, and even beyond that, you know, it's always in the federal, the administrations, they can pull the lease anytime they want to. So the more we can sort of show that this is a bad idea for all these coastal businesses and residents in our way of life, the more benefit it can actually have. So be prepared. We'll be annoying you, I'm sure. And most importantly, thank you so much for all your support. You know, you guys were on this even before the lease sale was announced. So thank you for being forward thinking and really helping us, because it's helped a lot with the cause. And thanks for the trash attack. Sorry we didn't have any board members on hand. We were predisposed with parade prep. But thanks for everything. And any questions I can take, I'm happy to answer, or just stay tuned for hopefully applause, but definitely some shouting and screaming if need be.
Great, thank you for the update, Matt. Thanks for coming.
Thanks as always, Matt. You guys do good work.
Sue Kelly, welcome, Sue.
Good evening. My name is Sue Kelly, 211 Sea Village Lane, and I stand up here tonight on behalf of the Community Appearance Commission. Since your last meeting, I had the honor and privilege of taking the Community Appearance Award to the winner. And I just wanted to report to you how pleased they were to have gotten this award. It is Shutters by the Beach Hotel. I think we would probably call it a boutique hotel. It's just as attractive inside as it is outside. And it's such a good example of, I think, local business, because the two owners, Eveline Octavio and Nick Nuzzi, were working very hard when I went by there. But I just wanted you to know that they placed it right on the counter where you check in and out, in a very prominent place. And they were thrilled to receive it and think it's a great idea to give this award. So it went very well, and they're very pleased. They just couldn't be here to receive it at the last meeting. And I have to say something about Trash Attack. Trash Attack was great. The weather wasn't perfect, but I think everybody had a really good time. And it's such a great event for our community to see all these families. I mean, it's really a family thing. Lots of kids and lots of fun, I think, and lots of trash picked up. I haven't heard the actual numbers, but I'm sure it was a bunch of trash. And we couldn't do this if it weren't for a lot of help from a lot of people. And I want to particularly say people that contributed. We had Pizza Hut and Daredevil's Pizza providing almost all the pizza. We had Bambo Charalambos and Captain George's doing the water, the Front Porch Cafe doing the coffee, and we really do appreciate all of that. And all the people who participated need to be thanked. But I have to say something especially about the staff in this town. We have just a wonderful group of staff that works with us on this, and they really work hard. Public Works, planning, administration, police, fire. It's what makes it all happen. And not only that, but they're a lot of fun to work with. I was talking to a lady on Saturday at the trash attack, and we were talking about the staff and how good they are, and she said, I won't mention the name of the town, she used to live in another town in our area, and she said, there's just not any way she could imagine the staff of that town ever coming out and participating in something like this. So I think we have very special people. We thank all of them very, very much. And I'm not gonna say names because I would probably leave somebody out and feel really bad about that. I think Chris Merrick might be here perhaps for the second public comment. Those are the winners of our poster contest. The one in the middle is this year's winner. And we will have a cling, is that what you call it, that goes on the side of a trash truck, well, at least one, that will feature that art. So a lot of parts to Trash Attack and a lot of fun. So thanks to everybody who did anything for Trash Attack. Thank you.
Thank you, Sue.
Thanks,
Good
Sue.
information. Is there anyone that would like to speak at this public comment time? Okay, then we'll move on to response to public comment. I know Mary Jane snuck away, but the Citizens Guide, if you don't have one or haven't picked one up, please grab one. It is packed full of such useful information. They really do a great job, the League of Women Voters, not only with that, but with the other initiatives that they orchestrate. Certainly, if you don't have it on your calendar and you haven't already voted, tomorrow is Election Day, so on behalf of them, I'm a member too, so I can say, please go out and vote if you haven't already. But the Voter's Guide, if you don't grab one, or if you don't like paper, they do have that online as well on their new website, so. Matt, thanks again for the walk, the update. Your float was great Saturday. Lots of children involved and great posters. They seemed very enthusiastic. So I know the group that I was watching the parade with when you guys came by, I mean, the cheers were just phenomenal. Lots of loud accolades and support. So.
Yeah, I wish we had the date that we could have put out at the same time, but.
I know.
Find out.
So any comments for Matt? And then Sue, thanks for all of those updates. Trash Tech was another very successful event. I mean, the weather held out. It really, except for the one little shower that came by, but for the most part, it held out. But, and you're right, accolades to our staff for sure. Not only are they there, but they're there with smiling faces and just ready to pitch in and lend a helping hand. So, other than when I was coming, to tell a funny story real quick, because I was pulling in, I couldn't be there at the start of Trash Attack because my son had a baseball. So, but I wanted to drop something off, so when I pulled up, our police chief was standing right there kind of directing me to park, and I was like, I'm not trying to be civilly disobedient, but I'm really just trying to turn around. And he's kind of looking at me like, you're not going to go where I'm telling you. Anyway, it was great. But thanks to you and the committee, and hopefully Chris will be here later. So we can thank him as well. He put a lot of hard work into that. So, and Ocean Atlantic Rentals, I know they were breaking down late Saturday, packing everything back up. Okay. So I think let's move on then to under introductions and presentation. We have a partnership report. If you haven't met her before, you'll get to meet her tonight, the new Executive Director, Dana Easley, with the Outer Banks YMCA. Welcome, Dana. I think I said Easley, but Emsley, sorry.
That's okay. My maiden name was worse, so Emsley's better. I do have, I don't know if today, I do have packets for you all, so okay, bye.
Sure.
So as Sheila said, I am the new executive director, almost going on a year, and what a way to kind of christen the first year is to present to the first director of the Y, so no pressure whatsoever. I've only heard wonderful things about her, so my daughter asked, and my daughter Hannah's with me tonight, and she asked me, she said, are you nervous? I said, absolutely, I'm nervous. But I am, but it's a nervous excitement. I am, thank you for allowing me to be here on behalf of the Y, and I know that we're just super excited about the year we've had and everything that we're gonna be doing in the upcoming year. I do have a PowerPoint that I think is queued up, possibly, maybe. And if not, I have hard copies.
I have PowerPoint back. You put it here. That's perfect.
No, that's Jenny's.
How would I have gotten this said PowerPoint?
I'm sorry?
How would I have supposed to have this PowerPoint? Is it time to begin the
No,
meeting?
they just loaded it up before the meeting.
Okay,
There we
there
go.
you go. I see it now. Thank you. Do you have the clicker?
I do not, but I think Meredith is bringing it this way.
Start the show, Greg, please. How about you just double click on number 1?
Right. Try that. Oh. I'm not getting it.
There's a resume slideshow.
Yeah, I clicked that 3 times.
Well, while they're doing that, I want to be mindful of your all's time and everything. So, what I'll be talking about tonight is really kind of a recap, just some 2015 highlights. It's a little bit about what we've done in 15, which will carry over into 16, and then what's new for 16. And then we wanted to share by the numbers and kind of make sure you guys are up to date on what's going on with what we're doing. The first thing really is we had a few facility upgrades in the last year, and we were excited about that because we had, the first thing with partnership from the Outer Banks Community Foundation, our previous executive, some of you all know Katie, she was able to put in an indoor chairlift for the pool, and that has many a days we're moving people in and out of our indoor pool, which is key to what we have going on. So that was one of the things. She also was able to create a family change room, which was essential in regard, and you sometimes think of those things as small, but that was pretty critical to our membership satisfaction and for moms and dads to feel comfortable with their younger kids, maybe of opposite genders, making sure that they could change and go to the pool from there. Another thing we were able to do, we did have some challenges with our outdoor pool. We had a major water leak, and we were able to get that resolved. And again, some of these things aren't necessarily like exciting, but to us, we were super excited when that was resolved. Then we were also able to install LED lighting in our gymnasium and also in our indoor pool, not only on the wall in our indoor pool, but in the water. And not only does it look good, but we're also having a lot of savings in our electrical bill this year, on top of the weather being nice. So we've had some savings in our operating budget there, which again only helps us, and for those that obviously are watching their budgets day to day, that's key. We also replaced 13 of our cardio pieces in our fitness center. And with that, it's just really trying to keep up with the trends, keep things from breaking down, and again, just trying to keep our service up for our members. So, I think we're on. So, can I do it from here?
I apologize to the board, the computer is playing the slideshow on the screen that you can't see and keeping the PowerPoint screen, but you can use the remote control and you can flip through it like this, and I apologize, we'll get it fixed before the next meeting.
So I can do this?
Yes,
Okay.
point to Greg's head.
Maybe?
You just have to show where to push the button.
Just,
There, that's where you are.
Okay.
If it doesn't work, you could just ask Greg to flip it for you.
Yeah, okay, I might give you the nod. Just keep it.
Indiana for you.
So that was on the facility side. More so within some of our programs and operations, we started a camp readers program at day camp. And basically what that constituted was about 30 minutes each day of camp where we read with the children, or they brought their own reading materials, or they journaled. And we started that towards mid to the late summer. The kids, it was a little different. They hadn't done that before within our day camp structure. But we knew that it would be something that obviously our parents would like, but that the kids could benefit from, as we went through. We were rated one of the safest pools in our Y Association, and with that really came down to where we come out and different staff from on-site at our Y or otherwise visiting could do little quick checks, make sure our lifeguards are scanning the pool properly, that we're following all the rules. And with that, we had the highest number of quick checks. We did tons of lifeguard drills. A lot of them were done when we were open, so our members got to see our response. And then the amount of in-services that we did to keep our lifeguards sharp and keep our members and guests safe. We did see the partnership come to fruition with our skate park in Nags Head, so that we could be almost as active as the Kill Devil Hills one. So that's been really fun to see the kids, even in the weather like today, they're out there. That's something that I've really enjoyed, is that park's being used. From the history that was shared with me, it wasn't as used as much as we wanted it to. So I'm very excited about that. And then we launched a choreographed group power group fitness class, and we're launching more as we go. But that is basically a high rep strength class that has been very well received by our members with that. So I'm nodding to you. Go ahead and switch. And these are just a couple of pictures of our kids that are reading the group power class. It's packed. And then you can kind of see the gym lights in transition. You can see we called it coming from the dark side to the light. So you can see the difference in the lighting in the gym, not just for safety, but, for user satisfaction as well. Thank you. And then the next is really kind of our 15 and 16 initiatives. So these are things that we started and we're continuing. So we brought camp readers into our Schools Out specialty camp. So when the kids are just out of school, and they come to us for a day-long camp, or they're coming for a week-long spring camp, spring week, they'll have this opportunity as well. Increasing our volunteers is something else that we're taking from 15 to 16 for our annual giving campaign. Really trying to work with our volunteers to share the story as we go out to partner with more individuals and groups. And then just supporting partnerships. I think that's one thing that the historical perspective of the Y has done really well in the community, and I've enjoyed that. And we actually got to list Outer Banks Sporting Events on here as one of our partners that we love supporting, even early in the morning, but that was fun. Jenny said we were the most efficient at our race startup. So we've had just a great time supporting all these entities as well. Thank you. And this is just a couple of pictures from our Special Olympics swim team that we really enjoy having. And then the Special Olympics swim meet is actually this Sunday, the 20th, coming up from 9:30 a.m. to 1, if anybody's interested in helping out or just coming to cheer them on. All right, moving on, trying to keep it short and sweet, I was told. With what to do for 16, we have in the packets that I handed you all, we have a class. It's a 6-week kind of healthy choice program, and we relaunched that. There's obviously a lot of changes with myplate.gov, and we wanted to make sure our members were up on the latest information to really kick off their Healthy Lifestyles program. We had more involved in that program this year than we did have last year, and it's still going, so the momentum's going. We started some tweet nights, and there's a couple flyers in there. I think the most popular one we had was the Nerf War, and there's a lot of pictures on our Facebook, and there's some pictures I'll show you in a minute. And we're bringing that back, as a lot of the kids were asking for that to come back. And then we're starting to kind of gear up to start to have conversations with our middle schools to see if there's some programming gaps that we might be able to provide at the Y or in partnership. That hasn't moved forward yet, but we're looking to collaborate. Y Diabetes Prevention Program. This is a program that we're looking to offer coming up here soon in April and then continuously. I know there's a couple other groups in our area that are know the really importance of preventing diabetes. So we're looking to partner, to support, to really just make sure this is available to the community. So you'll see some information coming out about that. And I talked about group power. The next kind of item on the list is group fight. And it's mixed martial arts. We're not starting anything. We don't need the police at the Y. But it's a mixed martial arts class that we're starting up in April. We just sent 4 instructors to. And this next one I'm really excited about. I talked about Camp Readers, but the next thing we're doing is day camp upgrade, and really working with our national Y and our association overall, where we're focusing really on 3 things in our day camp upgrade. And the 3 major things really are achievement, belonging, and really just kind of within goal setting. And there's some different things that we're trying to do, which is huddle groups, bringing the kids together, creating some family engagement opportunities. So we're really excited about launching that, and we're doing some of those processes in our spring break camp to get ready for day camp. And then Sheila's probably heard this, as soon as you opened the Y, it was too small, right? So she's been through some of those expansion projects, and really we're looking to renovate within the walls. Our previous exec, Katie, had started some conversations, so we're just trying to kind of move that along and see the options that we can do there, again, to serve the members we have, and again, as many more members as we can to support the community. And then new partnerships, you saw the list before. We're just really trying to engage with the community and find opportunities, even if it's just providing our space. So we've done that with the Chamber of Commerce, with the Health and Fitness Expo. We're partnering with the Summer Work and Travel Program to provide sites for the orientation. So once a week for the next 6 weeks, starting in middle of May, we want to make sure we can support them so we can all support the community and the seasonal jobs that we have. And we just continue to look for really more opportunities. These are just a couple pictures. The one with the kids lying on the floor, they're not tired. That's actually the Nerf war. They had to travel with their Nerf guns and things like that. And then we did Pie Face. I think that was like the latest game out for holidays for families, and we obviously brought that in. They love that. So, thank you. The next screen is really, I wanted to make sure we shared some of this data and information. Really by the numbers. Total staff that we have is about 105. In the Kill Devils Hills, town of Kill Devil Hills, we have about 36. We have 1 full-time. I was going to put 1.5, but I do live back in Collington Harbor, so I know it's not even the 0.5, so I took that out. So, but I do, appreciate, my daughter goes to First Light Elementary School and all that Kill Devil Hills has to offer, so. And we have a lot of amazing staff, and Kill Devil Hills provides us with a good portion of our staff, as you can see. We have well over 2,000 units, and that does translate into about 926 members from Kill Devil Hills. And then this next piece is really near and dear to my heart, and the reason why I've stayed with the Y in a couple different states and wanted to come to this Y within our Southampton Ribs is really with our Open Doors program. So providing the community the option to come and utilize our Y and our services. And with this, we served in 362 families and individuals. And what that really equates to is if our scholarship, whether it was membership or a program, if we supplemented a family by discounting about $20 a month, and we did it for 12 months, helping 306, and this is really like a low conservative number, we gave out almost $86,000 to Kill Devil town residents, and we're proud of that, and we would want, and we'll do more, really just trying to meet the families and individuals with what they need. And as you can see, we do that by our annual giving, so we gave out over $400,000 in 15, And through day camp alone, we give out almost 23,000. And some of these guys probably look familiar. And obviously we're missing one, but Jerry's trying to break in. He's the guy on the left trying to break into the Wise Guys. But obviously major cornerstones of ROI, and they're still there helping to guide us every day. So, but thank you all for your time. Any questions at all? Or?
Any questions for Dana? Okay. Thank you very much. Great presentation.
Thank you.
Great. Okay. The next presentation, we have Jenny Ash here from the Outer Banks Sporting Events, and well, actually, are you both going to speak?
Where's the combo?
Well, great. Welcome.
It's a pleasure to be here again. I'm Linda Wood, the Executive Director of Outer Banks Sporting Events, and of course Jenny, our race director, is here as well. And we would like to update you on Outer Banks Sporting Events in 2015, where we are, and how far we've come over the last 10 years with your partnership and the partnership with our community. And we thank you so much for everything you have, the support you've given us over the years, and just feel privileged to be able to work with the town of Kill Devil Hills and each of you, and thank you for all you do for us. And Greg, great. So, our partnership in the community, whether we're organizing events with large numbers of people, and I'd like for you to know that 85% of our participants throughout the year are from out of the area. So we are bringing people here for economic development. There you go. And, but we're also doing other things to give back to our community. And we support youth organizations like Go Far, which is Go Out for a Run. We have local coaches that work with groups of students to make healthy living lifestyle choices. And we appreciate what the Y does in conjunction with that. And is there anybody here from the town that's running in the Couch to 5K in a few weeks? Yeah. All right, fabulous. So we have a partnership with the hospital to give out free registrations to local citizens, and I think there might be sort of like a town competition. So we will, hopefully you guys will come out and root for Deputy Chief Harris as he's running the Couch to 5K during Flying Pirate Weekend. And also our local citizens, our registration for local individuals has increased dramatically since the very first marathon in 2006, and we're excited that our local citizens are reaping the rewards of those healthy lifestyle choices that they're making. Two of the charities that we support with our proceeds are the Dare Education Foundation and Outer Banks Relief Foundation. And you've heard us talk about them before, but we wanted to show you a couple of things that some of you may not know. The Dare Education Foundation gives grants to not only teachers and people that work within the school system, but people that work outside the school system as well. And they help our students to enhance their education. But the picture you see in the upper right-hand corner is students from Cape Hatteras Secondary School. They're doing an exchange with students in Canida, which is near Raleigh, North Carolina, and it's sort of like a farm-to-table, sea-to-table, or surf-to-table exchange. And our Cape Hatteras students are there helping them in the fields as they are planting some of the food that they will be eating later, and you'll see a picture of them eating with those students as well. And for those of you that don't know, in the town of Kill Devil Hills, we have affordable housing that was put into place by the Dare Education Foundation several years ago, I believe it's about 8 years ago now, affordable apartments for teachers. At that time, affordable housing was a real problem here in the county, and it allows our teachers to come here and to afford to live here, and helps them to stay here. The teacher that you see in the upper left-hand corner came here from Winston-Salem. He had run 2 of our half marathons before coming here, he and his wife, so that made it more attractive for him to come here. And he lived in the teacher housing until he and his wife could locate housing here in our community. So it really is making a difference for us and for our local citizens and students. And the Outer Banks Relief Foundation helps our local citizens that are in need, whether it's from debilitating diseases or the 2 students that you see in the lower right-hand corner were a part of the AVID program, which is Advancement via Individual Determination, which is supported by the Dare Education Foundation. And their house burned. They have a single parent mother, and their house burned and they lost almost everything. And with that, the Relief Foundation helped support them and transition them until they could get back on their feet. Now, those 2 students are now in college, and they are huge volunteers for us, and one of them is even a team leader during Storm the Beach. So they have really not only supported our community, but supported us in tremendous ways. And then the Relief Foundation also partners with other organizations in the community, like the Methodist Men, to do things for our students here and to provide materials so that they can do them. The Relief Foundation has helped over 700 people in our community, and has donated $1.2 million directly to help those people in our community. The Education Foundation has donated $1.6 million back to our schools and our teachers to support education in our community. Outer Banks Relief Foundation, Outer Banks Sporting Events has donated to over $2 million directly to support our youth groups, our grants, and our other initiatives that we have here in our community. So thank you very much for helping us to be able to do that. We have 2 expos that offer the opportunity for our local businesses to get in front of the thousands of visitors and runners and participants that are here. One's during the Flying Pirate in April, and the other is during the Outer Banks Marathon in November. And those people that come here also support our local restaurants and retail stores and all of our businesses, as well as our accommodations and other businesses within our community. And our 4 major events are the Flying Pirate in April, which is just coming up in about 6 weeks, Storm the Beach in June, the Saga Outer Banks Triathlon in September, and the Town Bank Outer Banks Marathon and other events in November. And I believe with that, I'll turn it over to Jenny to give you a few of the details about the economic impact and how your town is impacted by the events that we bring here.
Thanks, Linda. Thanks, Mayor Davies and Commissioners, for having us. So Linda spoke a lot to the numbers of the dollars that stay here in our community to be helpful. But in terms of estimated economic impact for the year, it's pretty exciting to see a collective view of the dollars that help grow our community and keep everything flowing for things that people need when they're here. So with the 2015 total over the 4 events, we had 9,100 actual participants register, and that brought in $8.3 million in economic impact for Dare County. So to break that down, we ask when people register for one of our events where they intend to stay, what type of lodging, and who they'll be bringing with them in terms of guests and everything. So with our breakdown, we have an average of 2.8 nights that people stay when they're here to experience their destination spot for the race they signed up for, and 2.8 guests on average they bring as well. So with the combination of hotel rooms and rental homes, it was a total of 12,000 nights booked for coming to our events. And like Linda said, it was a lot of first-time people to the Outer Banks, which is exciting as well. So not only accommodations when we're looking at our cottages and rental homes and hotels, motels, bed and breakfasts, but the per diem that people spend when they're here, we estimate about $75 a day for those 2.8 days that they're here. So with all the visitors staying and eating and all those supportive to our local businesses, the impact comes to that $8.3 million. So it's nice to see the exponential impact it has when we have all those people come to race with us. So in looking at the 10 years, we just in November had the 10th running of the marathon, which is our sort of our signature big weekend in November. So that over the 10 years, we can look at, let's see, can you advance that slide?
Keep going.
Yeah.
Okay.
So thank you. So over the 10-year span, when we sort of zoom out and look at the collective impact it's had, the 4 events brought in $55.8 million, and that's going through our businesses here in all of Dare County. Yeah, do you have a slide that says just for Kill Devil Hills, the economic
That
impact?
was before.
Yeah, oh, I'm sorry, I think I was out of order, thank you. So zooming in to Kill Devil Hills, segmenting out those participants that stayed here, we also have the local participants removed from the tally. So with our participants that intended to stay or indicated that they were staying here in the Kill Devil Hills area, and then their guests, the total visitors and their per diem, as well as their accommodation expenditures, for the events over 2015, the 4 weekends, is roughly $1.8 million right here in Kill Devil Hills. So that's important. This is sort of a central midtown location. A lot of our events, you know, sort of cover a lot of the county. I'm wondering when we're going to do a loop course, might make things a little bit easier. but yeah, so most everything passes right through, and Kill Devil Hills is a good location for people to stay, to see a lot and be in the thick of things. So moving ahead for 2016, we always like to keep challenging ourselves and looking at what is going to keep attracting people and keeping our events fresh. You know, there are certainly a lot of other events in the region and competition and site limitations for, you know, challenges that we face, but we have an exciting committee for our triathlon weekend in September. Notice the picture, Jack, see that there? We've got two people of our cycling events that we're adding to already established triathlon weekend. So it's sort of some overlap and some little bit of ease for, you know, introducing cycling only. But we have Commissioner Rubottom and Jack McCombs here in the audience on the committee for adding these events. And we're looking really forward to hammering out the details on that, and it'll be a qualifier for the National Senior Games and an exciting addition to what we already have going on. So we're excited about that, and then looking to partner with the aquarium in Manio for possibly adding a family-friendly event after their renovation is complete. So we're always open to ideas and suggestions and any questions always, of course. So we certainly appreciate support and involvement and volunteers and you guys being there for us. And a special shout out to Mr. Harris behind me. He's usually really rolling up his sleeves in the thick of things at this pass through, one way in, one way out Collington on the marathon and half marathon weekend. So he's certainly a frontliner, so we really appreciate that and everybody's support. Thanks a lot.
Thanks.
And at this time, we would like to present to the town 2 signed prints from the Outer Banks Marathon weekend. And our prints have always been done so far by local artists, and this is local artist Peggy Saporito. We appreciate the display that you have. We appreciate your partnership, and thank you very much for all your support over the past years.
Thank you, Linda, and thank you, Jenny. Appreciate the information and what you all do, and very excited to see the cycling events added, so that's great.
Yeah, thank you both very much.
Thank y'all.
Okay. All right, we will move on then now to old business, item number 1. It's the Outer Banks Chamber of Commerce lease agreement. At our February 8th meeting, we announced that this would be on the agenda tonight, but it was our intent to renew the lease agreement for the property that's occupied by the chamber in the Chamber of Commerce building. The agreement basically would be the third of 5 renewals. It's authorized in paragraph 3 of the original agreement. What we have before us is basically the resolution to adopt and move forward to execute that lease renewal agreement. Debbie, is there anything additional you would want to add to that? Anything to point out?
Only that we have enjoyed having them here on our campus and would recommend that the board approve the agreement.
They've been good tenants through the years, so. Any questions or comments on this item? Okay. If not, a motion would be in order.
I will make a motion that we approve the resolution renewing the lease agreement between the town of Killable Hills and the Outer Banks Chamber of Commerce.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, please signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Right, we'll move on then to new business. Under new business, it's the authorization for the Dare County Board of Commissioners to accept the beach nourishment bid. If you recall when we met back in February, it was the night before they were supposed to open the bids. And you may recall, certainly the board knows, but in case the public does not, those bids came in higher than what we anticipated, as well as the timeline was a little different than, or we were thinking the timeline may be affected. So the county actually, on behalf of the towns, rejected that bid, and we rebid the beach nourishment project. Those bids were opened on March 8th. There were 4 bids that were opened at that time and reviewed. And as we were hoping, by allowing a little bit more flexibility with the timeline, the bids did come in quite a bit under. In fact, the original bids ranged between 48 and 52 million, and the bid that we basically are discussing this evening comes in at 38,596,850. So by rebidding and providing some latitude with the timeline, we were able to really get the numbers where they need to be to ensure the financial integrity of the project, as everybody has been planning. But with that, there does seem to be, I guess, a little bit of, there needed to be some flexibility with the timing. And part of that is, while we wanted an aggressive timeline, certainly, to do that, most of the folks that were bidding were going to have to move equipment from where it currently is to up here, and then eventually move it back, which really drove up those mobilization costs. So, anyway, what we have before us tonight is that the bid tabulation sheets are in here, as well as the letter from CP&E to Bobby Outen, basically explaining this and recommending moving forward with Great Lakes Dredge and Dock Company. They submitted the low bid based on the base bid and additive bid, and that was the amount that I had shared, the 38,500,000 and some change there. So, Debbie or Greg, any additional comments to that introduction?
The only thing that I would add is, at this time, based on the information that we received on March the 8th, the beach nourishment project for Killable Hills is scheduled to start in August of 2017. And as the mayor alluded to, the schedule previously did have some issues. It had work done in the winter, which really concerned a lot of us, that was driving the cost up. And a lot of unknowns. We feel like this is going to enable us to let our citizens and our visitors and our business owners have a little bit better idea of the time frame and how that might impact either their vacation or their business or just their daily life.
So this is the total bid. Do we have a breakdown of what that is by municipality?
This is the total bid, this is the total base bid. What you will see on the page, on the last page, is it shows certain, items for each town. We will all share by a percentage of the mobilization, the beach discharge screening, et cetera, and then we have our individual costs. For example, you see where we have our sand fencing, Duck has their sand fencing. So to give you that number this evening, no, I don't. I will tell you that it is what our cost will be is within our budget constraints.
That would have been my
So
question.
we will pay a proportion, a percentage of the ones that are total. Which, and if you remember from the beginning, that was our hope was by this being one bid, and even though it's 3 projects, but being bid as one, we would share in those mobilization and other charges and costs that would bring it down.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions or comments? So what we're looking for tonight is a motion to basically authorize the Dare County Board of Commissioners to accept the bid, specifically from Great Lakes Dredge and Dock Company. And
they are, excuse me for interrupting, but they are having a special meeting on Thursday, the 17th, to do that.
Now, this may or may not have anything to do with this, but is this in any way, shape, or form tied to the beach nourishment project in Buxton? Okay, that's just, okay.
questions, comments? Okay, the motion would be in order.
I'll make a motion. I'd like to make a motion that our Board of Commissioners authorize Dare County Board to accept the bid for a beach nourishment project from Great Lakes Dredge and Dock Company in the base bid amount of $38,596,850 on behalf of the town of Kill Devil Hills.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, please signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
So if this is approved, then it certainly does give us the ability with this kind of, there's pros and cons of the timeline. I mean, I know for some folks, obviously we wanted the work done sooner rather than later, but from the perspective of communicating with the property management companies and allowing them to have the notice far enough out, people can actually make a reservation decision, kind of knowing that that's the timeline. So I guess from one perspective, that is a bit of an advantage for knowing and being able to kind of drill down on that timeline. So once things become official, then we can start our notification. At this point, this is what we believe and how it would move forward, but we want to wait till it becomes official. So, okay. All right. With that, we will move on to Commissioner's agenda. Commissioner Midget?
Nothing for me tonight, thanks.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Ackerman?
I just wanted to say thanks for doing the trash attack. I know Sue and Chris and a bunch of staff and a bunch of other volunteers put a lot of time and effort into that. We were actually on the north end of town, which apparently got the little pocket of rain, but we still got most of our loop done. So that was a lot of fun. So thank you all very much. Hope to do that again. So that's it for me.
Commissioner Rubin?
Thank you as well. Sorry I missed it. Had other plans, but, and I wanna say thanks to Jack for being here, and thanks for working on everything you're working on for cycling. And you're a tremendous advocate for us here in Dare County, and are doing so much. And I know you've got a lot going on right now, but you're again a tremendous asset. And I don't know that we say that enough. So
I'm
thank you.
also an old man.
You don't act like it.
I was gonna say, and in amazing shape.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would also like to thank Sue and everybody involved, Chris Merrick at the trash attack. We participated, as a matter of fact, our daughter and son-in-law came in from there in Hillsborough with our 2 grandchildren, and our 9-year-old grandson said, Mommy, when we get home, we should get them to do this in our town. So they're actually seriously thinking about talking to the town about doing the very same thing in Hillsborough. So, and if that would happen, that would really be cool. A couple other things. Bill Pitt, Bill Pitt was a very good friend. He mentored me before I was on this board. We met several times for coffee, and he very non-opinionated as far as what I should do or shouldn't do as far as anything that come up for a vote. And I thank him for that, and I do. The other thing was, he was a member of the OMG, which my granddaughter named us 6 guys that go to lunch about once a month, the old man group, and which I'm the youngest, by the way. It was Bill and myself and Jerry Froelich and Howard Kimball and Clay Richardson. A lot of you remember Clay, and also our former police chief, Ray Davis. And I was very fortunate to have, we all were, have lunch with him the last Friday in December, just before they were getting ready to leave for Florida. So, he's gonna be missed. One other thing also, I was talking to Daryl Davies at the trash attack, and the amazing work that he has done and people that are helping him is really needs to be recognized. There's 18 tees, 18 holes, and there's a practice tee, and all of those are sponsored at this point, which is just amazing. I forget the dollar figure, but they've all been they've been committed. People are going to sponsor those. There's still sponsorships available for things like benches, and actually somebody wants to sponsor the parking lot if they have a lot of money, which he said is negotiable. So if you know anybody, any organization, any companies that want to have their name on a bench, in one of the tees or one of the holes or anywhere along the course, let them know, and they can get in touch with Daryl. And we're hoping to have, Daryl said he would hope to have the money thing all wrapped up within a month, and the commitments. And once it starts, and he's not sure when it's going to be, it'll be about maybe 2 months to get it up and running once we commit to it. So I wanted to give you that report.
Okay, we will move on to Mayor's agenda. There's one item in your packet, and then I have a few others if you don't mind. In the packet, there was a memo about requesting to change the April meeting date, the second meeting date in April. But a little bit of update to what's in your packet. And looking at what we have before us and potentially on the agenda, I wanted to propose instead of, first off, I have a conflict with that Wednesday evening. And originally I was looking at, maybe seeing if we could move it to Monday night. And this is historically what's the public forum, the second public forum that we do each year. We do one around October and then one in the spring. But in looking at potentially what's on the agenda, we already have a meeting scheduled for April 11th. I think that's the date.
Yeah.
Yes. So what I was wondering is if you all would be interested in, let's just combining those, and as we have done a few times before, where there's a little bit of business, we'll conduct that business, and then move on into the public forum, and do both of those then on the 11th, if that would work for you all, and if you don't see any issue. We have a couple of requests for some presentations, but we can move those. Those entities, those organizations were willing to look at May 16th, which is already a regular scheduled meeting.
So this, instead of moving it to the 25th, it would just remove that second meeting for April.
And advertise the forum for the 11th.
Good stuff.
Debbie, would we have to be dealing with any budget items at that point on, at a meeting?
Budget items.
Talking about the budget, in other words, getting ready to.
Well, the budget obviously is in the process, and it will be presented to the board at the May 16th meeting. If there's anything specifically that you'd like to discuss, we can get together and.
No, I was just curious, because I know in other times we talked about it at an April meeting. Okay. So we're just gonna cancel the 27th?
If you guys are okay with that, and but not cancel and lose the forum, move the forum to the 11th, so we're not losing that opportunity to engage. Okay. All right, so we have consensus on that, and we'll get the advertisement out. So if anyone was already anxiously awaiting the forum and speaking at the forum, then mark your calendar for April 11th. That will be our public forum for the spring forum. Okay. Let's see. The other thing, I received an email from a Will Sassarasi. He's a, hopefully I didn't butcher the pronouncing that name, but he's a maritime archaeologist, and he was looking to maybe come speak to the board about and this has been some in the news, where the county commissioners took it up about help me Debbie, basically taking some of, I don't want to say taking, but expanding. The boundary is probably the best way to say it, for basically shipwrecks and for exploration off the coast. He was gonna come present that. The Dare County Board had passed, or I guess they passed a resolution opposing that expansion just recently. Not to say that what, their exploration isn't valuable, and we had the presentation before from the executive director sharing all of what it's done, and it is, but at the risk of limiting access, further for whether it's fishing or personal enjoyment or recreational enjoyment. So I wanted to have an opportunity to ask you all whether or not you wanted the presentation. The public comment time will pass before they would have an opportunity to come present, but just to know if you all had strong feelings about that one way or the other, or if you wanted the presentation. But if for example, like with the county's mind, their mind was pretty much made up as an entity. If we were there, I didn't want them to come spend the time traveling and presenting if we already had a position on that. Because basically while it's an opportunity to come share, it certainly was with the goal of hoping that we would not be in the same position that the county is, and that we would not be opposed to expanding that.
And if I may, the Outer Banks Chamber of Commerce has also gone on record opposing it, and with a recommendation that as opposed to increased regulations, simply enforce the regulations that are in place.
Because it's a pretty significant overreach, in my opinion, what they're trying to make that size go to, so.
So anyways, I had replied saying I'd like to bring it forth under the mayor's agenda just to get your feel for it. I'm not recommending that we necessarily do anything. You certainly, if there's still, you can respond public comment, but I just was going to either respond, yes, the board's interested in the presentation, we can schedule that, or know, because we recently had a presentation about everything that as an organization they were doing within the last 6 months. So we had a presentation. So
I feel pretty safe saying that I don't think it would be the will of the public to put more restrictions on the use of the public beach. Exactly. I mean, that's a pretty contentious topic right this moment, and I wouldn't be comfortable with that, but that's just me.
same head nods. Okay.
I think we have enough information that we got from that presentation. They gave us a pretty thick packet of information. We should have enough there to decide on resolution if we end up doing that at some point, one way or the other.
Okay. That's great. That's all I needed. Just wanted to get your input. So thank you. If you all, another item, remember I had shared before, and many of you may have participated, that we were approached by Professor Daniel Butler at Washington University in St. Louis about a survey. And the first round of surveys was distributed. I think we have approximately 311 email addresses that the survey went to. Anyway, 281 folks completed the survey. In fact, they were concerned that there were actually 103 people who accessed it through Facebook, the town's Facebook page. At first, he was concerned that are people taking it multiple times, but they traced and could see the IP addresses. So apparently 380 surveys were started, but 281 were completed. So that he's not concerned that people were taking it multiple times, but that's a phenomenal, when you're looking at research, that's a phenomenal response rate. You never get typically responses anywhere near that. So he's really pleased. We'll be getting information back on that study. Part of that, though, is for anyone who did take it, you could provide your email address if you would participate in the second phase of that. And so sometime in April, anyone that put that they were willing to do the second phase, whatever that may be, I haven't seen that survey yet, will receive another email to complete that one. But anyway, I'm really was thrilled to know that we were participating and at the level that we were participating. So that was great. And then the last thing that I had, and I will pass this along and share this, back in December, I was contacted by a student in an elementary school up in New York who was doing a class project. I'm not really sure how he stumbled across Kill Devil Hills, but all of the students in his class were supposed to choose a town and then create like their own little brochure on the town. So they had to research on the internet, and then they sent, he prepared some questions that his teacher emailed to me. I didn't have direct email with the student. But anyway, he did a great job putting this little brochure together on the town. He actually did a lot of research on his own, because he on his own chose like where to eat and where to stay and how to get around, and because I hadn't included that information. Anyway, it was really kind of cute. I'm not sure where the bobcat comes into play, but maybe but anyway, I'll pass this around because it's cute, and I think we were trying to get copies and put on Facebook. So anyway, just fun correspondence, and neat that he even has some suggestions on how Kittle Hills got its name in there. So it's neat to see the work that he put into it. Okay, that's all I have. Move on then to town manager's agenda.
That's interesting, because we do periodically get those from places just all over. I think the most recent one we had was out west. Flat Stanley came to Kill Devil Hills, and I think every department had the biggest time taking Flat Stanley around and sending it back. And of course, that's one that you don't have any additional contact with them, and you don't have any with them, as you say, directly. But it really is a lot of fun, and I think it has a lot to do with our name that really draws kids' attention. And on a personal note, I'll quickly share, I have a grandniece, one of her school projects, she had to do something with each letter of the alphabet. And so she chose Kill Devil Hills for K, and then she had imposed a picture of me on her page. She used a Kill Devil Hills page from somewhere with all the history and accurate stuff, and then she put this is my aunt, Debbie Diaz, she's the town manager, and I had shared it with some of my colleagues, and I said, I feel like a rock star. So it is a lot of fun when you get involved in those kids' projects. But I don't have anything for the packet tonight, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Debbie. Steve, town attorney's agenda?
Nothing for you tonight.
Okay. And to the consent agenda.
Yes, ma'am. First item is the minutes from the February 8th, 2016. Second is, as the mayor alluded to earlier, the board's consensus to reject the beach nourishment bids from February the 11th. Number 3 is proposed amendment to the town code to schedule a public hearing. This is requirements and development standards to require a combination of lots for single developments for new construction and substantial damage improvements. Would recommend the public hearing to be scheduled for Monday, April the 11th, 2016 at 5:30. Number 4 is a correction to chapter 152 subdivisions, 15259, recording of exempt plats to correct a statutory reference. Simply, as you can see there, it complies with general statute. It should be 160A 376, just a typo. Number 5 are budget amendments. The first one is to record prior consensus of the board to provide engineering services for the Holly to Collington sidewalk improvements. The second is to provide the grant funding and town match for the phase of sidewalk improvements. To purchase dumpsters for sale, and lastly, to appropriate fund balance to cover current street year projects into the POW bill. Number 6 is an ordinance enacting and adopting supplement 14 of the Code of Ordinances. Number 7 is the Government Education Access Channel proposed budget, which is the current annual $1,000 membership fee remains in place, and this evening staff would recommend the consent agenda adopted as presented.
Any questions, comments? A motion?
I make a motion that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, please signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Great, thank you. Thank you, Debbie. Okay, we are now to the second time that's set aside this evening for public comment. Is there anyone with us? Yes, Jack.
Jack McCombs, 917 Cedar Drive. I want to follow up what Debbie said about the name of our town. I bought a software package and it was still under warranty and I was having problems with it, so I called the 800 number. And this lady answered with an accent. And I said immediately, "Where are you located?" And she said, "New Delhi." And she said, "Can you give me your name and address?" And I did. And there was a pause and she said, "You killed devils?" So I got her over that. I wanted to just give you a little bit of background and some thoughts I had about the cycling thing. I made several attempts, as most of you know, to start the cycling event here in the Outer Banks. And I could not get any traction on that for various reasons. One of which was I probably wasn't smart enough to do it properly. Eventually, and I also was dissatisfied with the state of North Carolina senior games that was forcing me and other North Carolina residents to other states so we could qualify in road racing for the National Senior Olympics. And I got this bright idea, at least I thought it was a bright idea, and I think it was a bright idea. Why can't we host this ourselves? So I immediately thought of the Outer Banks sporting events. But before I made the approach to them, I went to Commissioner Rudenbottom and said, "What do you think about this idea?" And she thought it was a pretty good idea and said, "Go have a chat with them." And that's how this started. It's a small step in the direction of making cycling events possible down here, or at least to see the potential of it. Many people understand that cycling is good for your health, it's good for the environment. And most people understand that cycling is growing across the country, and it's almost reached tidal wave proportion. So they're going to come here whether we foster it or not. Many people, however, don't understand the economic impact on it. From Jenny's presentation, if you recall, they've contributed $55.8 million over 10 years, their various events, and they've done a magnificent job. 2003, I've mentioned this before at this podium, there was a study done by North Carolina State University for NCDOT, and they were able to determine that cycling was bringing into the Outer Banks not less than $60 million a year. And since 13 years have passed, I think everybody in this room, just by casual observation, have seen the number of cyclists that have come here every summer, the number of cyclists that has increased from the local population. I think it's probably doubled at least the economic impact now, at least $100 million a year. I've long been convinced that if we started development, organizing cycling events in the Outer Banks, we can make this one of the most attractive cycling locations in the eastern United States, with a consequence economic impact of over $1 billion. And I'm not exaggerating, this is not hyperbole, this is absolutely true. But what that means is we have to educate the residents of Dare County how important that it is. It's not just important to hotel owners and homeowners that rent their houses. It's important to the plumber, it's important to the electrician, it's important to the shop owner, because these people bring a lot of money in. And a lot of people don't understand that. So we're not just talking about the safety of cyclists. We're talking about a very, very significant impact on our economy.
Thank you, Jack. Is there anyone else that wishes to speak? Yes, Dana.
Dana Harris, Kiddo Hills Police Department. I just want to take time to give a reminder to the general public here in Kiddo Hills that on April 1st and April 2nd of this year, we'll be holding the North Carolina Mom Mission of Mercy Dental Clinic, just a free clinic to the people who normally cannot afford to go to the dentist. It'll be here at the Parks and Rec. And I do need to let you know they need volunteers. So if anytime y'all could contact them, the phone number is 252-255-6199. Repeat, 255-6199. And the general public would appreciate it. We've been there year after year. We've had, if I'm not mistaken, Mayor, 600 to 800 people at different times come to the clinic, and it's a 2-day clinic. And if you saw some of the people that come in there, you'd volunteer every time. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks so much for that reminder. And Dana, and we have a police presence, and I appreciate your support of the event each year. But yes, I do know they are in need of volunteers, all different things. So whether it's helping take food to the line, the people waiting in line, or maybe it's holding a suction tube, or maybe it's just helping with trash or whatnot. We need volunteers to help out with the event. But it is really a life-changing experience to witness folks that come in there that don't have the money to go to the dentist, and they are in incredible pain. They've been holding on to this pain. They just maybe need a tooth extracted, or maybe they just need some cavity work done. It's amazing when they have that work and then they're leaving. They're just so incredibly grateful. And so thank you so much for that reminder. Any other comments this evening? Any response? Any comments from the board? Jack, I'm just really excited that they're making a small step in the right direction. You certainly have been championing for many, many years. So persistence pays off, even if it takes a while. And thinking of persistence and beach nourishment, it's a shame Bill is not with us when the sand gets put on our beaches. But next year in August, we all need to go and watch it and say a special thank you to Bill Pitt, because he has spent 10+ years championing for beach nourishment, so I'm glad we're gonna make this happen. With that, a motion to adjourn is in order.
So moved.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, please signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you.